Hi, I'm Mihir Joshi and welcome to the MJ Show. I'm hoping that this is not the first time you're joining us, but in case you are, let me tell you what this show is all about. I've been a singer, I am a singer in Mumbai, but I've also been a radio jockey in Mumbai for many, many years. And the one thing I loved most about my work on radio was the chance to meet up with musicians, singers, bands from all across the country and talk to them about their music. Now, we've been talking to some fantastic musicians from the Bollywood circuit, from the music circuit here in India, and today I'm in the house, I'm in the jam room, the music room, the guitar room, the television room of one of my favorite guitar players in the industry right now. I'm talking about the incredible Ehsaan Noorani. We're going to talk to him about so many things. I've got so many questions for him. We're talking about the blues. We're going to talk about his love for music and about Shankar-Ehsaan-Loy and actually a whole lot more. So come on, join me and let's meet up with Ehsaan. Ehsaan, welcome to the MJ Show, and it's there's so much to talk about. Actually, we were thinking of when I was coming here, I was thinking of what all do we begin with, because I know that beyond the work that everybody in the country knows you for, there's so much more. You got your own band, which you said has not been playing for a while
for
now.
Two bands actually.
Two bands, and you're going to be playing very soon in Calcutta with another blues band. And you're a huge blues fan.
Totally.
And of course, everybody knows that, you're a massive, you've got your own guitar series which has come out with Strat, with Squire to be precise. But so let's start at the start, because there are a lot of young people who are out there watching right now. I'm sure, seeing you play, seeing so many other fantastic musicians in our country play, they want to go and pick up a guitar and they want to start. So how important for you also was education in terms of just getting to know your music?
See, I think it was essential. There are people who feel that it's not necessary. That is true. Like Loy is not educated, in music. Though he wishes he was educated.
Yeah.
So it works in two ways. But the thing is that I got my basic training from Bismarck Rodrigues, who a lot of people know, and he's a fantastic teacher. Yeah. Now his son also teaches.
Right.
And basically, he taught me all the basic stuff which I think a guitar player needs to know, just like playing, just in that much,
Yeah.
And the thing is that, like when I went to GIT after that, now known as MI. And when I went there, I was at least a little in touch with what is going on, because suddenly when you go to MI, you're hit with like barrages of information.
Right.
So at least I knew what they were talking about, scales and, scale patterns and stuff like that, because I'd learned that. So it helped me a lot, and at least a good knowledge of chords and, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it kind of, I think education is a must. Whether it's basic, whether it's advanced, or even further than that.
Yeah. And I think it never stops, right? Once you become a student of music, you continue learning even when you know pretty much, you know your guitar inside out, but you still probably spend time
every day
practicing every day.
Every day, trying to figure out something new. You write down a new riff, or you compose a new riff, or you try and pick up a new riff.
Yeah.
And you want to keep increasing your vocabulary, but eventually I realized that at least when you reach a certain stage, that you've achieved a kind of style which is yours. And that is finally important. Then everything that you do is just like an addition to that.
Correct. So first thing for everybody watching, if you're a guitar player, if you want to become a guitar player, and you see some pretty awesome stuff happening in a little while, practice a lot, learn your stuff, go to a good teacher like he did when he started off as well. Very, very important. You can't just pick it up off the net, which I think a lot of people do nowadays.
Yeah, a lot of people do that, but there's something about learning with somebody in front of you.
And getting that one-on-one.
It makes a big difference. One-on-one makes a big difference.
So, if I have to talk about your inspirations, who are the musicians you grew up listening to and whom you've continued listening to even now?
But actually, the thing is that I heard a lot of music to start with, which my sister used to listen to, which had stuff like Boney M and ABBA, that kind of stuff. But then I heard Deep Purple, which kind of was very it turned me on a lot to that whole sound, because I couldn't believe the first album, surprisingly, which I heard was Fireball. Okay. Not even Machine Head, which is Smoke on the Water, which is normally the song that everybody loves. Yeah. But that album, when I heard, I said, this has got a certain thing, From there, I started listening to a lot of Deep Purple, Santana. Then it went on, and then, finally, when I started playing guitar, actually, I was influenced by guitar. I started playing guitar when a friend of mine played Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles.
By the Beatles, yeah.
And when I heard that, I said, man, that sounds so good. And he was a student of Bismarck's.
Okay.
A guy called Alan Sayani. And basically, that was it when I started learning after that.
So what was the first song that you learned?
I'll tell you, the first song which I learned completely wrong, is when I learned the D chord, So the thing is that, and I played Smoke on the Water in a completely wrong way. I played it like that, and then it sounded like you were God, you know.
Yeah, you
It's
got
only
it.
now that I realized it was played.
Sweet.
So that's the way it's played. And just like, but what the hell, you know? I mean, like even Fender,
Yeah.
you know, for the Squire, they've got a page called "Stop Dreaming and Start Playing." And they asked me for a quote, you know, and I just said the same thing, you know, that I played Deep Purple with a D shape moving up, you know, in minor thirds and a major step, and that. And for me, that was like ultimate, and it was completely wrong.
But yeah, I mean, I think when you first pick up and you manage to play something that
Yeah.
sounds close
Yeah,
to
yeah.
a song,
Yeah, yeah.
you're like, yes, I got one thing right.
Yeah.
Okay, so probably started off with the Deep Purple
Yeah,
song.
and then you know what happened? A friend of mine, Nakul Kamte, he's a very famous engineer. He's engineered Milka, you know, he's mixed the film,
Bag
he's
Milkha,
mixed Lagan, he's a 3-time national award winner.
Mhm.
In fact, I would say Nakul is responsible for the biggest musical growth of my life. In
Okay.
the sense that, you know, because I was listening, I had my limitations, you know, but Nakul had an album collection like a mile long.
Okay.
So he turned me on to stuff like Lynyrd Skynyrd, you know,
Nice.
and all the good stuff, Wishbone Ash. And he had a cassette called The Blues.
Okay.
And it was not from any album or something, it was just a generic, you know, how that time people made cassettes.
Cassettes,
you
yeah.
know,
You recorded
those
them
green
and
Sonys
you
and
wrote
did
it down, this is
Yeah,
what is there
yeah.
on it.
And that had a song by Johnny Winter
Okay.
called It's My Own Fault.
Uh-huh.
It's a blues standard, I think it's one of those old
Right.
Muddy Waters or whatever. And I heard that, and I felt, I mean, I heard, I'll tell you, it just went, it's my own fault, baby. And I heard this thing, and I don't know what it did to me. It just made me feel like, God, something's drawing me to this music, you know. And from then on, of course, I was into rock and everything, you know. I already started listening to some jazz rock fusion. But the blues was where I was, you know, always, you know, very
Sort of
comfortable.
gravitating towards. The song's called
It's My Own Fault.
It's My Own Fault. So yeah, check out those videos and let's talk a little bit more about the blues. I mean, I know that it became, after you found this album and you started listening to Johnny Winter, it became the sort of the thing that you most gravitated
Yeah, yeah.
towards. Even now, I think...
No, I'm completely into it. I mean, though I play tunes like Zinda, which is like hardcore heavy metal,
Yeah.
I still, for me, the blues is singing. Actually, the thing is, you know, there was a big change in my life. When I was in Bombay, I heard a guitar player, a very famous guitar player called Larry Carlton. And everyone's heard of him. And then I went to MI to study, and there, the orientation week, the week, I was there, and I saw, first of all, I saw all these metal players, because that was 1985, and heavy metal, I mean, Los
was the
Angeles
thing, yeah.
was heavy metal city, and there were all these bands like Dokken and Rat, and you know, all these guys playing killer stuff here.
Yeah.
And I used to hear these metal players playing, and I said, man, that's what I want to play. You know, I want to do that whole thing, which I was very bad at doing. Even now, I'm very bad at doing it. But there's, you know, a performance class that happens, a performance workshop with all the guest performers, guest instructors, and the instructors of the school. I mean, guest instructors who was around. And we were divided into two batches because the performance halls at that time were very small. So, you know, we had to be accommodated into two batches. And there's a Japanese guy who I met, Naoshi, and he and I were going for lunch, and he said we'll come back in time for the second batch. So as I was leaving the school, one of the performance halls, the door was slightly open, and had a very soft, sweet voice saying, we're going to do some slow blues for you. And I said, just hang on, let me just say this, you know. And I heard this blues coming on, and I was sold, you know. I said, this is my soul, you know. And the guitar player is a guy called Robin Ford.
Robin Ford, of
which,
course.
you know, I mean, a lot of people now have heard of.
Can you recommend one Robin Ford song?
Well, I mean, if you listen to his, I'll recommend a full album actually. An album
is?
called Talk to Your Daughter, which
Talk
is
to
his
Your
first
Daughter.
album, and then you know you can keep going on.
Okay.
But he's got the style of playing which is like, his influences are like B.B. King, Albert Collins. I mean, he's also a sax player, so he knows a lot of jazz. And Michael Bloomfield, you know, all these are very important players. But he's got a way of playing, you know, which, I mean, his whole usage of notes. And apparently, and I like Larry Carlton as well. So they both got very similar styles, so completely different, but you can see they come from a certain school, you know.
Right.
And Robin Ford was it, man. I mean, I you know, every time he came to the school to do like, you know, private open counseling and all, I'd sit and watch him playing, you know, and that was it, man. He really changed my life, you know.
I'm so happy that, you know, primarily the audience will probably gravitate towards this will be the Bollywood loving audience, and then we'll get them to listen to all of this stuff.
Of course.
Pretty awesome.